Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to the greatest podcast known to man. The podcast with more backgrounds and logos than the WWF back in the 90s. It's the good guys. It's the great guys of What's Good America. Let me start this off the right way. I got to give flowers to my guy down there, the newly acquired athletic director of Montana State University, Michael A. Bazemore. I got to give my man his flowers. I hate on him in public. I'm going to give him his praise in private, but I got to give it to him because he's taking a role that not many African-American males, not many African-Americans get in the first place. My guy's the athletic director. So I got to give him his flowers right now because he worked his ass off while playing arena football. He got his master's and then got a second master's and was working on the field and everything else. So I got to give my guys credit on that. Now that shit's over with. We back.
That was about what 1 second. I appreciate it though. I appreciate it. I take my flowers. I will take my flowers when I can get them.
He had his glasses on outside the frame, and then came in the frame and took them off. Real serious. Ain't that about nothing?
I had to get back to myself, ladies and gentlemen. T. Turner, aka Chocolate Pudding, aka Tony Schiavone, aka new nickname, the Scorpion Deathlock himself. You feel what I'm saying? It's me. We back. I was dodging the Rona. I done dodged an indictment. I'm here. I'm here for you, all right? The people. We got the logo in the background and everything. We learned how to work this computer shit a little bit. It's big things going. Big shout out to 9 Round Fitness. I was there today. They kicked my ass. It happened. What up?
Official sponsor.
Big shout out to Rebel Coffee.
Official sponsor.
If you need a quick pick me up in the morning, go holler at Rebel Coffee, baby. They gonna take care of you. My mama was just here. She had some Rebel Coffee and loved it. So if my mama like it, I know everybody gonna love it. But my right hand side, but my left hand man on my right hand side, the gainfully employed, the soon to be. I'm gonna speak this into existence. The soon to be fantasy football of the TRL League champion.
Oh man,
James Madison. Yes, I picked Bryce Young. Walton the third. What's going on with you, baby?
Hey man, look here. I'm gonna tell you right now, America. I appreciate that. This is the nicest Chris Turner's probably ever been in an intro to me and Bays combined. So I appreciate him speaking that in the air. You know what I'm saying? I'll take all the energy because once I get past the 4th round this year, we'll be all right. I don't know. I just had a glitch. It was terrible, Bays. I'm glad you weren't there. I just put it to you that way. But listen,
if I was there, I would have strongly advised against Bryce Love in the 4th round.
Everybody strongly disagreed for that.
Yeah, I strongly disagreed with it too. But you know what? It is what it is. Sometimes you just have to make moments. I'm viral. Somewhere Bryce Love, appreciates what I did. I might show up to the draft in a Bryce Love jersey. I haven't decided yet. Stanford's right up the street. Maybe I'll wear a Stanford joint. I think he's wearing 23 for Washington. Maybe Antonio Gibson goes down.
See, that lets you know right there you should not have drafted him. You don't even know his number.
Yeah.
He didn't play a snap last year, babe. It's like, how would I know? He was on IR all year.
Right after you drafted him, he got hurt pretty much. So that's what happened. He got hurt.
It was over. It was a competition, and then he was like, nah, I'm gonna go ahead and rest this knee up. But it's all good. It's all good. Like, that's the best part about me. I can take it. But I'm dishing it out this year. It doesn't matter. That happened in the past. Mike Bazemore is going to be at the draft this year. It's a whole different ball game. We didn't add it even more color. It's on. I'm going to have Baze, Coach O, and Chris Turner at the draft.
Uh-oh.
We're going to have him out there. It's going to be
the limit here in Billings, Montana. You have now reached the maximum Negro limit. So nobody...
Don't hit him with a figure 4 black dudes right there. Straight up. Ric Flair the hell out of him. Woo! Hey.
All right.
But we're here, man.
All right, Walt, you're gonna have to watch the time for me because I'm on my phone today. So you gotta watch the time for me. We're gonna try to keep it at an hour. If you're friends with me on Facebook, you saw what I posted a couple days ago about at some point in time, the ball stops bouncing. At some point in time, it's your last camp, it's your last fourth quarter, it's your last sprint, it's your last lap. At some point in time, it happens. And it's going to be a two-part show, and we're going to start it off like this. Not necessarily what has the game done for you, because honestly, the game has done a lot for all three of the individuals on this show tonight. But what the game meant. Now, of course, just to get a little prerequisite, the next show is going to be about what happens when you walk away. Because there's two ways to walk away. Either you walk out too soon or you crawl out. That's the only two ways. Like, you walk out with the opportunity that maybe I could have played, maybe not, or you crawl out and it's just like, yeah, I should not have done that. But as far as today goes, like, what does the game mean? Like, what did it mean to you for your time from Pop Warner to NFL, CFL, Arena, IFL, semi-pro, whatever? Like, so I pose this question, and I won't even go first on this one. I pose this question to y'all too. What did the game mean to you from 6, 7 years old up until we were getting paid to play, pretty much?
I mean, you know, I feel
well,
like
you gonna kick it off?
No, man. I'm you know, we got 2 top 100 guys on here. So to me, we got to let our guests go first. That's all I was getting to say is, man, I'm gonna let you take it, man. You ain't been on the show in a while, man. So, man,
appreciate it. It's good to be back. That question is it's tough. It's a combination of things. I would say one word that comes into my mind is a place of belonging. You know what I'm saying? Like, once I started playing football, I felt like I belonged. I didn't even know like all the rules when I started playing in youth football. But I took instruction well. I was aggressive. You know, I was coming from the heart of North Philadelphia, so I probably had a lot of, just a lot of built up aggression and anger. And football was a perfect outlet for just that physical need that I just had to get out my system. Gee, man, belonging, and then just a sense of pride, you know, a sense of just that camaraderie, brotherhood, a sense of, you know what I'm saying, knowing that you can overcome adversity, you can deal with success. I mean, it's meant a great deal to my life. I mean, I can think of the pivotal moments in my life, and one of the common denominators was football. So when you talk about sticking with a sport, and the crazy thing that people don't realize, I hope this may deter the entire subject matter, but you are in a dysfunctional relationship with your sport. Like, you love this sport so much, you sacrifice your blood, sweat, tears, time with your family, and you know that this game don't love anybody. Once this game is done with you, it's done with you. And nobody gets out of this game unscathed. I would say very few get out of this game unscathed. So when you talk about what it means to you, man, just a sense of, you know, just that pride, and just whenever you look back at the moments, the highs, the lows, you know, you just kind of sit back and smile. And hopefully, you know, you don't have too many regrets. I mean, for the perfectionist, you always think about plays in certain games, certain points of the season where you wish you would have played better. But ultimately, man, you kind of, you know, the chips fall where they fall.
Well,
I mean, you trying to book in this part of it, huh? Okay. What does the game mean to me, man? You know, I don't know, man. Like, my experience is different from the both of you guys. The first time I played legit tackle football, I was 14 years old. I was in high school. We had this weird, funky like Flacco junior high football at my middle school. The shit was hilarious. Like now to think about it. So I'm gonna give everybody in America a good laugh. You know, this is what was going on in the west suburbs of going to my high school. So you wore your shoulder pads, you know, leg pads, the whole nine. You had the whole uniform, helmet, everything, right? But you also wore flags. So you didn't have to, like, it was a weird thing. It's hard to explain if you're not from that area and from that time. But it was tackle football. But when you tackled a kid, you had to also go and grab his flag. It was crazy. Like, it was like full contact, but you could get penalized if you tackled a kid and you didn't grab a flag as you tackled him. So that was like, so I didn't play legit tackle full on football until I was 14. My mom didn't let me play. I'm one of them old school guys where your mom say you're not playing, you're not playing because you're not taking that whooping. So like my introduction to the game was sneaking to it. Like she was at work in the 7th grade. What was she gonna do? I went to the tryout, you know, and was starting at safety as a 7th grader on the 7th, 8th grade team. She was like, well, I can't stop you, but if your grades go down, and I was like, well, football ain't the reason why my grades began to go down. Puberty was. Anyway, you know, so that was my introduction. It's way different from you guys, you know, just, you know, obviously knowing you guys' pedigree as young players. But I would say, man, life experience, I think really would be what it was for me. It's taken me all over this country. And these guys can attest to it. And I think for me, you know, being the biggest city kid out of the three of us, you know, Chicago being the 3rd largest city in this country, like you didn't know anything out of Chicago because you didn't have to. You had everything right there. You grew up in the era of Jordan the Bulls. Frank Thomas was in the backyard. Bo Jackson was in the backyard. Sammy Sosa's chasing home run records. Our hockey team was actually good. You know, you grow up in all this stuff. So Chicago was everything. And then you play against these guys. Unworldly to you in high school. They become Hall of Famers, you know, later on in life. And then you end up in a little ass town called Kirksville. And you immediately figure out how much do you love this game. Do I love it enough to put up with this? My mindset at 18 is this is what I'm gonna do. Like I played for more people in high school my senior year. Then you start to realize that's not what the game was about. And then you meet some of your best friends and those guys become friends the rest of your life. And you have ups and downs. And are you done with the game after that? And no. What's next? I didn't get to where I wanted to get, but how do I get there? Now you're in Evansville, Indiana. I didn't know where Evansville, Indiana was. Didn't play much. Now it's like, all right, I got a taste of that. I think I still got it. I don't know. I'm 23. I'm having some doubts. I didn't play very much for the first time. Then you end up in Bloomington, Illinois, which is basically like you got to play at home. And then you get traded to Billings, Montana. What type of crazy torture is that for a 25-year-old kid who is playing 2 hours away from his house and is a star in where he is? The community loves him. One championship away from becoming the mayor of that town. That is a known fact to both of you guys. Y'all thought Billings I was worse than Bloomington. So think about that for 2 seconds. You thought 09 was bad, Turner. You should have seen 07. It was a mess. I wouldn't have my wife right now if she'd have met me in 07. She'd have been like, oh, hell to the no. But that's beyond. It's the experiences of getting to go to the Omahas and play in Tacoma and experience 24 hours of sunlight in Alaska.
Yeah.
And hang out with legit Native Americans.
Let's still not go too far into that Alaska conversation.
That was dope. Got to play outside of Philadelphia, and you meet these people, and then you look up and you're at your wedding and they're all interacting with each other. I think that's what it means to me, is that it brought so much joy to me, because I got to meet so many people and be a man of, I think, in my opinion, I think it really gets lost in the times we have. But I think because of my football experiences, I think I am as true of an American as anybody in this entire country, period. Because I've played with somebody from every part of the country and have had experience and understand and, respect how they are. Just because they're not necessarily like me, how do I interact with that? And how do we become friends? And how are we able to coexist and compete and win? You know what I mean? So just the experiences, man. I think that's just get there and stop at this point. I know we still got plenty of time to kick it over to you, Chris. But amazing experiences. Do you need another bottle?
Yeah, probably so. I'll say for like what the game meant more to me than most people. Like Baze said, like it gave me an outlet, dude. Like it's documented. I'm from Florida. Like you got two choices, and like it's either you gonna play football or your ass better learn how to pick up a second language and play baseball. And it's more so you better play football. Like, dude, I grew up on the street where, of course, we had the dope boys and like all the shit going on. But like, I grew up across the street from a dude who played for the Dolphins. Like, he was a couple years older, but he got drafted by the Dolphins. It was a dude 2 streets behind me who ended up going to the Falcons. Like all these NFL cats are like surrounding me. So like, me being 8 years old playing for the Mount Herman Blue Devils at the park team had 12 or 13 guys a little bit older than me that end up going to the league. Like I grew up like my mom's ex-husband was a damn coach. Like there was no choice. Like just like most black kids in the city, I had an anger problem, I had a temper, and there was no positive way really for me to have an outlet. It's more under control now. So I still have a temper and I still have anger issues. It's just under control now.
I just wanted to make sure you were using the present tense there. I'm sorry, they do check our show for accurate depictions of who we are. So
for the fact, yeah, I still in the temper. But like it was just this big chubby ass kid with no outlet shit. Like I was tired of being poor, like tired of living in the slums. And for them 2 hours of practice every day when I was 8 years old, like it gave me something to look forward to, because for them 2 hours, like I could go out and just punish people, and like it was applauded. And like at 8 years old, I knew, like, you know what, I like this. Like this is all right. And growing up and getting older and getting bigger, like seeing them same cats I was playing with at 7, 8 years old, now we're 13 and 14 in middle school. And it's like, all right, well, it's still fun. Like it's still a good time. And like now we're just doing the same thing and it's older and you got a little bit more responsibility because you got to keep your grades up, but it's still an outlet. Like it's still, you're in school for 7, 8 hours, but then these 2 hours of practice, yeah, it's hell, but at the same time, what else would you rather be doing? Like it's a beautiful sin. Like I think Baze hit it like right on the head with his 2 master's degrees. I would hope that he would be able to properly put this in the right.
And we put. Hey, listen, if we're not putting Montana State University Billings on the map, what mention these master's degrees.
Only got it's one master's, two bachelors. One master's, two bachelors. That's it.
Oh, excuse us.
Sorry.
I know two. I know two of them came from there.
Sorry. But
hey, they came from there. Chris, you said something that really kind of triggered me that I wanted to kind of take our first tributary off this wonderful river we have, especially both you guys. Because, you talked about growing up in it, and Bay's obviously 6, 7 years old in North Philly, When did you guys know? Like when did it hit you when you were like, yep, this is my ticket? Like, when did you kind of feel it in a sense?
Bay's out because I know exactly when.
I didn't know that football could. Oh, you got it?
Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead, Chris.
Yeah.
So it hit me 8th grade year against Jeb Stewart. And I remember this shit. Like, I was playing fullback and we ran like a wing T triple option type deal. And dude, I broke an 80-yard run and outran, like, I was bigger than most of the kids, but I outran cornerbacks, safeties, ran the cat over, and then just an 80-yard touchdown. Like, when I look back, cats were like 20 and 25 yards behind me. And like, I remember I spiked the ball and got a flag and everything. But like, I was like, you know what? Like, this might be something I want to look into doing for the rest of my life. Because like, to me, it wasn't anything amazing, but looking around and seeing fans and seeing how I outran these other kids and being bigger and stronger than them and still faster, like, I just looked around like, you know what? This might be my ticket.
It ain't really hit me in terms of, I guess, my ticket until high school. Like, I knew I was nice in football. It just came easy to me. Even when I knew that I had guys that were more skilled than me, I never felt like that. I always felt that I could compete. Like, so that was never like an issue. But in terms of like my ticket, I didn't realize that until going into my junior year in high school. We got a new coach. He was actually the assistant boys basketball coach, but I didn't know that he was nice at football, like in terms of as a coach, because he coached at another school in the suburbs. Then he got the head coaching job at our school and changed the entire program around. Sent the number of dudes to Division I, D2 schools. He helped out a lot of kids in Philly, but like, he pulled me aside one practice. I was being a knucklehead, and he was like, "Yo, what you doing?" He's like, "Yo, you realize like you can go Division I, like you can take this thing somewhere big." And I ain't really get it, but I kind of understood that this was going to be bigger than me. Like, this was going to be, what I'm saying, about my family, just going to a whole nother level that I wasn't even thinking about the game like that. I just was playing it because it was fun.
Right.
I got the crack dudes, what I'm saying? But I didn't think of it to that particular extent until Coach Brian Fluck pulled me aside and kind of opened my mind like, oh, okay, we can do something like really big with this thing. So yeah, it was later on in my career for me.
Interesting. I think to hear that, I think it's such a nice contrast to where Chris knew, at 13 years old, this is it, top 100 player in the country. And then we got you, who was like my junior year. And then the next year you were rated in the top 100. So, I mean, I think that's a good thing for those that have reached out, to you, Chris, and will probably obviously watch this video in response to that to understand that that's big, because you guys obviously kind of represent what a lot of these young kids are going through, and there is a link to that, because a lot of it's tenacity. Yeah, there's absolutely an athletic, build, and you two are both freaks of natures. I've seen obviously plenty of your high school pictures, like, you guys are only, really 40 pounds heavier than what you were in high school. So that's terrifying. Both. For me, I asked it because So remember how I talked about my first year of true tackle football was my freshman year in high school.
Yeah.
So let me continue this story because it plays into when I knew. My freshman year, I had a hell of a camp. I think you guys both heard me reference this, messing with my Uncle Julian. And my Uncle Julian's wedding was the first week of games. I messed with him about it. It's not a big, it never was a big deal. Like, it was a big deal to me when I was 14, but it's my uncle. I love my uncle. Shout him out as well. But I was one of his groomsmen. So I had to miss the game. And when I missed the game, they demoted me all the way. We had freshmen A, B, and C. I got demoted to freshman C. They took my face mask that I had and gave it to a sophomore. I had a crossbar.
Oh,
You had the Rudy.
Yeah.
You had the Rudy.
And just caught, like, I was seeing two balls. Couldn't catch anything. And I'm like, what happened to me? I was starting both sides of the ball. And now I'm fighting for playing time on the freshman C team. This all happened in like one summer. So I'm like, but you guys know my personality now. So you know that this, imagine me at 14 with no way to control this. Just angry that I'm being treated like this. Terrible. Like, I'm the best athlete on this team. I was only running like 5:40, so I'm slow as shit. But in my mind, I'm the best athlete, right? I always had that weird thing, 5'7", 130 pounds, but I'm the best player out here, right? So season go past, I catch one pass on freshman A, don't start a game. We go into that summer, going to my sophomore year, and all I was saying is, I can't wait to get out here. I had grown 3 or 4 inches. So I was like 5'10" now. I felt like I was a little bit faster, even though I couldn't bench press my weight. But I was like, I'm better. I'm bigger. I feel right. And no shit. That summer, I got moved up to varsity. I caught one pass and was in varsity camp. That's how depleted they were at receiver. So I went up to varsity, practiced with them dudes for a day and a half, and I told Coach Kerwin, I'll never forget it. I said, Coach, thank you for giving me this opportunity, but I'm not ready. And I just asked, I said, is there any chance I can go back down? Because I wanted it, but there's something to understanding what it takes to be the man. You have to go through it. And I had not gone through it yet. I didn't understand what it meant to be that guy. So I went down to sophomore. That's why I wanted to get that backstory. So there was 3 moments for me. Sophomore homecoming game, playing for the sophomore team. I almost didn't even play the game because my mom had the 3.0 rule in our house. Your grades dip below 3.0, you don't play. And if I find out you play, I'm gonna whoop your ass. That's just my mom. Anybody that's met Sarah knows this to be true. So it's homecoming. I was just coming off a 2-touchdown game. I was just getting my legs. I'm starting to all right, I'm starting to get it, feeling like myself, I'm in the groove with the offense, we're clicking. My dad showed up, and I knew when he showed up, because my dad never showed up early to shit back then. He came literally to pull me off the field. And I was like, oh my God, Dad, no. And Coach Leva, God bless him, begged him. He said, Mr. Walton, just let him play. You got to trust me. He's on, this is big. And my dad just kind of looked at me like, your mother's going to curse me out. I'm going to let this happen. So you better do something in this game. So it was like the first real pressure I ever felt in football. I had 201 yards receiving in that game. I caught both the touchdowns. I had a game-winning 82-yard slant I took to the house and couldn't run fast. That was the first time I knew, wow, you really stepped up with the pressure, because that's the only thing keeping you from being overly grounded. Where my dad was like, yeah, his grades may suck, Sarah. I think he's good. He might be good at this. We might need to figure, let's let him play basketball this year. I don't know that he might have something. That was the first, because I was like, oh, I can take a game over. And then it was getting that first questionnaire. Mine was from Michigan. Remember your first questionnaire you get from a D1? Now, hey, I got my first questionnaire from Western Michigan University, Chris and Bays. Remember, I have not played a snap of varsity football yet. And Coach Kerwin believed in me enough and said, even though this kid went back, he saw what I was about to become. And my mom and I looked at each other. We had a moment that we have seldomly had where we were on the same page. It's only happened a few times in life. The most recent time was my wedding. This was the other time, was this Western Michigan lover. She said, you see what I've been trying to tell you? And I looked at her, I was like, with my eyes, you see what I've been trying to tell you, old lady? Don't worry about these grades. I'm gonna do both.
Let me pose this one. All right, so Walt, your first question there was from Western Michigan. Where was your first offer?
My first offer?
Yeah.
Shit. This is gonna crack you up. I think it was Arizona State. It's my first offer, if I remember correctly. Because it was different for me. Because I wasn't top 100. You know, we weren't a factory. And there's a lot of calls and interest. But I remember Arizona State offering me on the phone because they offered me, and I was shocked. I was like, how am I on y'all's radar? Like I'm Big Ten MAC conference. So it was either them, you know who it was? I take it back. It was Northern Illinois was my first offer.
Okay. Bays, what about you? Your questionnaire and your first offer.
You know, I don't remember the questionnaire. All I remember was after my junior year, it was it was crazy. Like after my junior year, because you got to think, from my sophomore year to my junior year in high school, I went from like 170 to like 200. And I was starting varsity as a sophomore, beat my body up, but then I had bulked up so I can take that pounding, and I was getting a gang of tackles. Now this is like, you know, before they had all those defined defensive stats. Like I was racking up a gang of tackles. I was playing linebacker, so some sacks here and there. And I was playing tight end as well too. So playing both sides of the ball, and I was getting them just a lot of action. So I think my first offer probably was, I don't know, man. I can't remember. It might have been probably a Big Ten school, or like Temple when they was in the Big East.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it had to be like one of those two schools. But you know what the funny thing is, like we had a lot of interest, but my coach kind of cut it off from like the Nebraska area, and then kind of focused on the Big Ten area, Big East, ACC. And that's when Miami was in the Big East at that time too.
Yeah.
So I got some Miami love, but I was from Philly. I ain't know nothing about Miami. It's probably a good thing I didn't go to Miami, because y'all probably would not know me right now if I went to Miami. I doubt that. You know what I mean? Y'all would know me.
Oh no, man. We know you. You'd be a TV analyst right now. That's what's happening. You'd have been in that area with them dudes. They wasn't doing nothing but that was okay. We will get back to that.
But I believe my first questionnaire was from Presbyterian College.
Presbyterian College.
And it came my 10th grade. I remember it came my 10th grade year, and it was before I shot up in game weight. Like I was like 5'9", 5'10", and like 220, 230, and was playing like I played Mike and I played fullback. So I got a questionnaire from Presbyterian College. Like I remember the coach handed it to me like right after one of the games, the varsity games. My first offer was from UConn, and I committed instantly. Like because it was because it was my 10th grade year. And I was like, hey, listen, I don't know if a bunch of these gonna come around or not. Like, if y'all want me, I'm gonna be a Husky. It is what it is. Coach Randy S. Like, Huskies, let's go do this shit. And then I remember, and this was the high school I transferred from. I remember this cat named Big Terry, who was a 5-star offensive tackle. Like, it was my 10th grade year, so he was his senior year. So he was getting recruited by everybody. And like I told him, like, yeah, dude, I committed to UConn. He was like, why? It's like, because they offered me. It's like, yeah, just if I was you, I would wait. I committed anyway. But sure enough, like, he was like, dude, like, at the first high school I went to, it was Lee. It's now named Riverside High. I feel a lot of pride saying that because they're no longer Robert E. Lee. But the cat named Terry was a 5-star guy. They had a cat named Tiny, who was essentially like the last of like the great white cornerbacks. But he was a Florida white cornerback though. So like he had gold teeth, a sleeve in high school, like had a tattoo on his neck. Like, I mean, his grill was amazing. Like, mind you, he's 17, 18 years old. But he was a 5-star cat. And then, like, it was a cat named Julie, a 5-star middle linebacker. And he was like, dude, like, listen, they coming here to see us and they offering us, like, they see you too. So I'm gonna be honest with you. That UConn shit is not the best way for you to go. And like they was right, like shit, it is what it is. But all right, so let's go to as far as what
Wait
it
a
means.
minute. And then I want you to do the part B. Did y'all win a state championship with all this talent?
Nope.
You gotta think of who they playing against too, though.
Don't matter.
What you mean? Okay, so hold on. So I'm gonna run through the schedule for you real quick. My 10th grade year, we had 4 5-stars, 3 4-stars, roughly. The school I ended up transferring to had 7 5-stars, 10 4-stars, and then a bunch of underclassmen who were 3-stars.
Did that team win a title?
Yes.
Okay. That's why I'm asking.
Hold on.
Did you win one state title? Because all I hear is 5-star, 4-star.
It's Florida, dude. Like, them stars get attached easily.
I get it. I know they get attached. But I mean, it seemed like you had about 8 on each side of the ball. That should probably lead to 1 state title in your class. I'm not saying you beat everybody in Florida. I'm saying whatever class you were, I'm hoping. Chris, I was the best player on my team for 2 years, and I was a 1.5-star. We made the playoffs once with one 1.5-star guy. That's all I'm saying, man.
But that's the thing. When you get into the playoffs, and then you got to play against Devin Hester, and you got to play against Prince of Ramashadu down in South Florida, and you got to play against all these Belglades, Benny Blades boys, and all this. Like, yeah, you might have a couple 5-stars, but they got 10 or 11 too, and they all like I told you, North Florida and South Florida is different countries.
I know. It's football civil war. That's all I'm asking. Did the North win?
The North won. So my 4 years
won. It just validates all these 5-stars I hear all the time. We have to talk about your sexy high school that is now
4 years
after Robert E. Lee.
My 4 years, the North won twice and the South won.
So it wasn't even me taking a shot. I just was like, man.
No.
I just hope they at least maybe made it to the semifinals once.
We made it to the run. We've been runner-up, made it to the semifinals. Like, never got put out in the first round. It's just run out of ammo.
I'm sorry, Baze. I just wanted to make sure. I'm sorry, Chris. You were taking us somewhere, but I've been wanting to ask him that question for a long time, and I finally.
No, dude, that's one of my biggest regrets, dude. Because like we probably should have, but shit, we got to the round right before the finals, and we had to play against a school called Fletcher, Duncan Fletcher, and they had arguably the greatest, well, up until a couple years ago, so Derrick Henry came out. But they had Seattle Faison, who went on to start at University of Florida for 4 fucking years. So, and he had all 5 of his linemen were 5-star guys. So it wasn't like they just pounded the rock. But anyway.
So they ran at you is what you're saying.
Second part. What was your, like the moment, like your cleanest moment? Like, I got this on, I got that. Like, what was your cleanest moment period. Like, let's just call it. I won't even tie a time to it. I don't care if it was middle school, arena, college, high school. What was your cleanest moment?
You mean like uniform?
Uniform.
Oh, I was stank out there until I got that 15. I was stank out there. No, I was stank out there until I got number 10. The Outlaws. I was out there stank with it. I would say I had a little bit of sauce when I was at Michigan State when I got the low. So yeah, I take that back. My dude Greg Taplin, he played defensive end. He's from Florida, from Hollywood, Florida, I think.
Yeah.
So he told me all the time, like, yo, bruh, he said, you got to take off those nasty mid-level cleats. And so our equipment manager, Knickerbocker, he was like the toughest dude ever he was like real by the book, real strict. So if you was a skill player, you got the low cut Nike cleats. If you were like mid, you had, a little wiggle room. But if you were like a lineman, he was giving you the mid cut cleats. No. And so I ended up like I think my junior year or senior year, I ended up buying the same kind of Nikes that we wore from one of the local stores, the low cut cleats. I'm like, I need to be saucy out there. I need to, show my speed. And so he finally saw me in those cleats. He just was like, he was fed up. So he just kept giving me the low top joints from that point on. So I think that probably was my first kind of peek into like clean, like looking real saucy. And then like, I would say, yeah, when I put that 10 on with the Outlaws, I was like, okay, I gotta try to market myself as a brand. It's about some entertainment. So I thought more about, kind of looking clean out there when I was playing.
Well, I think this is a funny thing for me just because, Chris, you played me the one year, but Bays played against me. Like that, my reputation was Walt looks so trash out here. Like, how is he scoring all these touchdowns? Like, I purposely did that. Like, I started, once I got to Bloomington, I did it on purpose. The shoes I wore when I played against you guys, Bays, those were a pair of shoes from my guy, Nick Rude, who was our starting center. Because I just didn't have any turf shoes. I was broke. He was like, hey, take these. I was like, this is all I need. Trash. I wore the black shoes for 2 years and scored all these touchdowns on all of these former D1 players on purpose. Because my thing was, look at these shoes. They was like, there's no way this dude getting out the gate. That's the sneakiest 50 I called, because everybody's like, dude, he ain't going, oh, he can play. But I had two saucy moments. And I want to shout out my boy Cole Cardes. I hope I see him when I'm at the 20-year reunion. My boy Cole Cardes, man, was a huge Charles Woodson fan. And he was a huge Dion fan. So our senior year of high school, we had the Enzo South was the black and gold. So we had the Iowa, like the Iowa black with their yellow. Those were our home jerseys, and we wore the black pants. So we were all black at home. So me and Cole, senior year, junior year, I was just, I'm out there, I'm wearing 84 and trying to be like Randy. Like, I didn't care about all that. But senior year, I was like, yo, I got to look at. So I bought the Charles Woodson all blacks in 2000. They had it looked like remember the Penny Hardaways? They used to look like they used to call them the Batmans.
Yeah.
Charles Woodson had a pair of cleats that was like the Penny Hardaways. Had a strap on them, Nike. They were so dope. I mean, I wore them cleats through college until they just fell off my feet once I got there. That's how much I love them cleats. And then me and Cole, didn't matter what game it was, we would wear the tights, even in the summertime. So we'd have the tights, so we'd just be blacked out. And then we both wore the fat Jordan Nike wristbands, elbows. And then we had Deion Sanders headband on the neck. You know what I'm saying? I was rocking.
Out there choking
I had the little studs in my ears. You know what I'm saying? Because I was trying to be like Dub. I wore 9 my senior year because of Peter Ward. I've told Peter Ward stories on here, but that's how much of an influence Peter Ward was on me. Like, I was trying to be fresh like Dub. That was one. I'd say the other time was my sophomore year at Truman, my first year starting at Truman. So I bought myself a pair of Nike IDs.
Ooh.
And I like the 3/4 on me. I just always liked the way they look because I'm an Air Force guy. So I didn't do low cut until like the year after that. But I had these, I had a monogram. I was so out of control because I never lived up. But technically I was this. So I put Wayne's J on my cleats, my number 84, and I had a double A for All-American. So technically I was an All-American in track, but I never even made all conference one time in college. So like the shoes, it was like they were true, but were they really true? I wasn't even honorable mention 1 year. But them shoes was saucy, man, because I would wear those. We had the purple and the white. So it wasn't so much my sophomore year base because they had us out there in gold pants.
Ooh.
With purple, you remember how Denver had how their stripes are here?
Yeah.
So we had that Denver cut, and the gold Truman was here, and Coach Ware, God rest his soul, loved these gold pants, flat gold. So my sophomore and junior year was terrible. But I mean, freshman, sophomore. My junior year, that's when we convinced them to switch to the black, and that was my influence. I was like, we need to do the black and purple like Northwestern does and wear the purple pants. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what we need to be doing. I was trying to get us to get black pants, purple pants, white pants, but Bays knows Truman's budget. That'd be grateful we had the purple pants already there. So when we wore the purple and the white, I had the shoes were white with purple accents and had the gold Wayne's J. So like it looked dope on the road. And that's when I would wear them. I would wear the black cleats at home. I wear the white and purple. So those are the 2 times I was saucy. And then honorable mention my 2010 year with y'all when I was wearing the Kobe's.
So my two, it was my year Jamboree. And I knew because coach never let like the seniors like play that much in the Jamboree. And it was at the rival high school that I transferred from. And like the way we used to come into a game is like it'll be all 85, 90 of us like lined up. And then like just like with Outlaws, you knew how good you were depending on where you fell at in the line. So like if you were one of the first 5, you were good. If you were one of like the last 5 or 10, you're good. Anybody in that middle, you're expendable. So like I'm the very last person. So we're at the rival high school. I come out. Our colors are green and gold and white. We got the gold pants on. I got gold socks on the match. They got like the little Nike symbol on them and everything. I had the gold Speed TD's Nike ID. And on the back of them, they said like Big Speed or something like that. And they had Lemon Head on the front of it. White jersey on. I had the one sleeve on, and then I had like the wristbands going up the other arm, the headband around my neck, and then I had the smoked out visor. White gloves on. Because like I said, I have prided myself being a lineman who did not like to get dirty. So like this whole being in the trenches and all that shit, no, I'm not getting dirty with you, buddy. You getting thrown down to this ground, and I'm throwing this running back down, and I'm gonna land on top of him. So I got the gold helmet, the icy white jersey, the gold sleeve, the white wristbands going all the way up, the gold pants, gold socks, gold shoes. You couldn't tell me nothing. Like it was by far the cleanest moment. And the second one, it was the Arkansas game. And it was on some Mighty Duck shit. So
wait, which Arkansas game are we talking about? Not the one I saw the clips of.
Yeah, that one.
Oh no, not that one.
Yeah, that one.
Oh Lord Jesus. Okay, we'll stay away from that, but
yeah, we'll far away from that. But it was halftime. Well, it was going into halftime. They ran like a draw play. and the tackle was holding on to me and like ripped my jersey, and I was already bleeding anyway. So my jersey was pretty much ripped like a deep V-neck. And they didn't have for some reason they didn't bring they always bring 2 jerseys for everybody. Well, of course, for some reason they didn't bring mine. So it was another kid on the team named Turner, freshman. He got the number he wanted, but he wasn't playing. So they threw me in his jersey, his backup jersey, because we were never going to be on the field at the same time. So I come out and the Mighty Ducks in the second half, and this is after that play happened with Matt Jones and shit. I come out, I got that crimson on with the number 4 on now, Turner on the back, the brand new white gloves, white on. I got the towel hanging off the side, the visor still on. I got the speed TDs on, of course, because what D linemen need to wear mids or highs. It's all about speed out here. And I'm iced. Mind you, Arkansas went off to win 35-24 or whatever, but I was clean. That's all that matters. It's all that matters.
He got to be exactly what he would make himself when he created a player on college football.
Yeah.
That's legit what that moment was. He was like, dude, this is it.
So let me pose this, because Baze, I think you hit it right on the head too, and I think we're getting close to our time too.
Yeah, we're getting there. We're getting close.
All right. Baze, you mentioned that this is a toxic, one-sided relationship. And Jesus Christ, it is. Knowing what you know now, would you still play?
Absolutely. Without question. Why? Absolutely.
You know it's a one-sided relationship though. This is some Ike and Tina shit where Ike is gonna beat the hell out of you for the next 10 to 15 years.
But those earrings that he give me, those trips that he take me on, and then hold on, this is by no means to approve or condone domestic violence by anybody. We are just trying to make a funny analogy about the dysfunctional relationship that football has with the players. So let's make that disclaimer.
Yeah, seriously, MSUB, come on.
But man, I still would play. Basketball is probably the first organized sport I played. So that's definitely my first love. But football was just kind of like I said, it was me. I just belonged. It just came easier to me. So I would still play, knowing what I knew now. If I had all the knowledge that I have achieved, and you, I guess, in a sense, jump me back to that time period, I would have made different decisions. I probably would have went to, knowing what I know now, either Ohio State or Miami
Penn
at
State.
the time.
You'd have took your ass to Penn State. That's where your ass needed.
No, I still went to Penn State.
Should have went there.
Nah.
It'd have been you'd have took over right after LeVar.
But you gotta think at the time though, in terms of football factories, Miami was a football factory at the time. Ohio State has been a football factory at the time. But Penn State was too close to home, so it probably would have, it could have stunted my growth personally. So I don't think my mom wanted me to go to Penn State because it was only a 3-hour bus ride back to Philly. So that was more of a personal maturation thing than anything. But football-wise, they would have been higher on my list if you can, what I'm saying, obviously, bouncing back to that time period, or maybe Notre Dame, because they had, a lot of cats that go NFL, either they make it or they bust. But I mean, in terms of a football factory at that particular time,
that would have been Ty Willie, I think, too. I think he'd have played for Ty Willie. I think.
Yeah, I would have played for Ty Willingham and Charlie Weiss.
All right, well, so I'm gonna throw the question, and then I'm the same thing that Baze added to it. I'm gonna throw it into the question with you as well.
Yeah.
So one-sided relationship, a toxic relationship, an abusive relationship. Would you still do it? And then 38-year-old you right now knowing what you know now, and if you could impart that wisdom into 18-year-old you, like what would you have changed? Is there something you would have done differently, like what you got?
Yeah. Would I still do it, man? I wrestle with that, Chris. We talk about it all the time. Three of us, we talk about it off camera all the time.
Yeah.
Like, I think looking at it, and I'm serious, this is not me pumping me up. I like to think about the type of athlete I was. There wasn't really much of anything that I couldn't do. But man, there's something about catching a touchdown. I could dunk when I was 5'9". I was a perennial Division I volleyball recruit at 5'9". That's my teacher still tells me to this day, Miss Sweet, when I see her, I'm glad you did all the things you did, but you know volleyball was your best sport. I played 1 year of volleyball. I saw her 4 years ago to the day, and she told me that. So that lets me know how good I was, and I played that for 1 season. If I'd have just dribbled a basketball, I'd been like, dude, stop putting me in the post, let me stay on the wing and handle the basketball. I'd have been Russell Westbrook before he was Russell Westbrook. Notice I picked somebody that doesn't shoot the ball very well.
I thought you was going to say. I thought you was going to say Sean Marion
or Steph. I picked Russell Westbrook. I play hard.
I thought you was going to say Sean Marion.
That would have been more appropriate.
I mean, no, I would still be 6'3". Like Russ would be the type of point guard I would have been. Like I'm freakish that way. Like I wasn't D Rose freakish, the 2 feet. Russ I can get off too, but you know, Russ come at you 1 knee up. That was me all day. Me and Russ both, you know, similar builds and heights. But no, I think I would do it because there's just something about that. I mean, like that touchdown. It's like that third part of when I knew. I did this pirouette touchdown basket catch my first game on varsity for my second touchdown of the game. And I knew, okay, I'm a little different. I just, you know, like I'm different. Like nobody else on my team could do that. And I started to see that. I'm like, yeah, I'm okay. I got something here. What would I change? There's a lot of things. When Arizona State called, I just would have been like, cool. And been like, sorry, mom and dad, but you're going to have to eat shit on this one. I'm going to Arizona State. That'd be one change. Or if I didn't do it, if I knew I was going to get that offer from Northwestern, not play in that tournament that weekend and sit down somewhere. Like, just go chill. No need to play basketball this weekend. You got the offer. You got it. You just got to get to Tuesday. Save that for the patty camp. Go there. They'll be like, hey, just want to get to patty camp? We're offering on Tuesday. Cool. Go to patty camp. Whoop everybody's ass. Because by then I was 4'5". I could actually handle myself. About $185. Like, that'd be the other thing that changed. And then the last thing I've always talked about is when I was at Truman. So, and I'll always reiterate this. And I think I told my teammates this, a few of them, but I'll put it out here in the air. I highly considered transferring from Truman to Central Missouri State after my redshirt freshman year. Because I could look and I could see, I was like,
yeah.
You know, this is 19-year-old me with a mismatched Nike earring and a stud and a fro because I had cornrows. So I don't know. I was looking a little crazy myself, you know. If I had to get that thing braided, boy, that thing was out there like Randy, right? You know, because Randy was my guy, right? But the opportunity was there. They were willing to get me through that transition. I was going to have to sit a year. That's what was hurting me was
right.
I knew I was going to start next year. And I figured my talent can be a big part to helping this team. I just wasn't very good that year. I needed that year to get bigger, stronger, faster. And then, you know, Delaney Walker and I playing together would have been a nightmare. That's all I got to say about it. I knew how good I was, and I knew how good our conference was. That's why I was never all conference. We had guys catching 85 balls for 1,200 yards. Kind of hard to be all conference when half the schools have that. And, you know, they don't even know if you're that good. But in your heart, you're like, dude, you just got to get me the ball. So those would be the three things. And I'm going to leave it at that because just in case anybody in my teammates, like it could turn into a conversation. And then I just have to remind them, like, hey, it's okay that the truth is the truth. Like, I love you guys. It's no big deal.
So speaking of myself, would I still play? Undoubtedly. Like it's like I think about it, like I don't think I really ever had a choice in the matter, and I'm kind of glad I didn't. Like Florida is a football state, not Jacksonville being a football city. Florida is a football state.
Facts.
So like that sense of competition, like like I'm 37 and that fuels me today. Like I would honestly, I would play at a younger age because like I got asked to play when I was 6 and I was like, nah, mom, I'm cool. Like let's wait a little bit. That shit don't look safe to me. Like I would God honestly play and play more. Now looking back at my age now, what I would tell 18-year-old me, I would have, and that's the only thing I really regret. Like, don't get me wrong, like Florida State's cool, Alabama was amazing for on the field reasons and a lot of off the field reasons. Both of them were amazing. But if I had to go back, hey, I'm not getting in detail, but for a lot of reasons, they were great schools.
This is why he hasn't been on the show.
Yeah, that's the main reason.
Good Lord.
If I had to go back, I would tell to go to USC. Because like that was the best.
That would have been the move. I gotta respect that. That would have been the move.
It was the best visit I had. Lane Kiffin was amazing. Monty Kiffin was great. Pete Carroll was just like talking to like that crazy uncle or whatever, dude. Like it was great. And I remember getting on the plane back, like it was me and my tight end because we both went on the same visit. I remember getting back and play like, dude, like I can live in LA. Like this, I could do this shit for 4 years. Like I could, this all right. But then what killed me is that I got back from that visit on a Sunday night. Tuesday morning, I'll tell this and then we'll wrap it up. Tuesday afternoon, after practice, I get a knock on my door at like 6 o'clock. And it was Coach Kynes and Coach Bowden, God rest his soul. And that man came and sat in my mom's living room, ate dinner with us, and like legitimately ate. It wasn't like, I'm gonna eat just because she cooked or whatever. Like that man legitimately ate my mom cooking, talked the whole time, and he may have mentioned football twice. And I was hooked. Like that's, and God rest his soul, because I know we just lost Bobby Bowden and everything.
Man,
and that,
I never met the guy. And you know what Florida State means to me. That was, that was pinnacle to me. That's where I knew, I was like, I root for them because it's like, I'll never be good enough to play there. But I tell you what, you talking to Bays, he talking about activities. I tell you what, he'd have been doing the Dale and Brennan dance. Talk about activities at USC if he'd have went out there. We got so much room for activities. He'd have been step brothers all day out there, boy.
Hey, it was.
They had all sorts. Y'all had Will Ferrell coming to practice. Snoop was hanging out.
Because that was the wave. I want to say my freshman year.
Carson.
My freshman year.
Carson.
Ohio State
started with
won.
Carson Palmer.
And then after Ohio State won, then I think USC kind of went on a run after that.
So his base, because he's a year younger than us, Palmer beat Brad Banks, beat the brakes off him. Remember, because he was the Heisman Trophy winner. They lost that game.
Yeah.
And then Carson Palmer went number 1, and that was their beginning of their takeoff, and that was Pete Carroll. And then from there, Matt Leinart ran with it. So Chris would have been true freshman that 03 season.
Yep.
where they were running with it. So he'd have got a title in 04. Would have played in the greatest game of that decade
against Texas.
Would have got some of the aftermath of that.
Yeah, that's a fact.
Probably would have been a top 3 round draft pick because they were pumping them out. They were Miami.
They was pumping them out.
They were Miami West. Like what Miami was had done for 20 years. Pete Carroll turned them into that. Like that,
quickly.
Like Miami that was we've always talked about on the show, man. There's no outside of Last Dance. I need to watch the Malice to Palace documentary.
I watched that. That was good. Good.
I need to make sure I got some Brown, take my time, and listen to Steven Jackson and Meta Sandefeld Artest. You know what I'm saying? Got to figure out. I've been reading about. Meta's been. Shout out Meta. Ben Wallace and them guys.
I remember watching that live. That was the day before we played Penn State.
You know what I said? You know what I said? I was like, good for them.
Good for who?
For the players for going up in the stands. I'm serious.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
I was like, what is wrong? Listen, we were 21 years old. And even I was like, well, they obviously did something they deserved to do that. Because I've never seen anything like that in my life.
I knew once that cup hit him, I said, it's a wrap. It's a wrap. They done crossed the line.
You got the perspective on that. You were living in Michigan when that happened.
Well, Pete, my Kevin Bickerson, he was my roommate on our road trips. And so we were watching that game in a hotel the night before we played Penn State. And we watched the entire game after we had our meetings. So we watched it, the foul comes down from Ron Artest on Ben Wallace. They get chippy. And it's just like a scuffle. I'm like, I'm like, they're going to break it up, but they still egging it on. It's getting a little weird. I just got that feeling like something weird about to happen. Next thing you know, cup come down, and then Ron Artest, beelines, climbing over people. He find one dude, he throw it through the cup, and he's wailing. And me and my dude Vic, we in the joint like, yo, this is crazy. Like we in the hotel room, like this is crazy. I'm like, yo, this is wild.
Like, I know we got to sign off here, and I think we should because we can talk about this off camera, but it's amazing to look at even things like that. I haven't even watched this documentary yet, but it's amazing how things like come in cycles and people just seem to just have this, I don't know, weird feeling like they can just do whatever they want to do without repercussions. And then the guys that ultimately get punished, the ones that are in the cage, like, why are you punishing the animal in the cage?
But the thing is, like the rules of life. Let's make this public service announcement. The rules of life always apply. Okay, don't matter if you paid a ticket to your favorite entertainer show, your favorite sports figure show, wherever you pay money. The rules of life still apply. So you go out there acting crazy, thinking that ticket buys you some kind of freedom. You may get your feelings hurt. You may get your bodily parts hurt. So the rules of life apply.
Let me translate this in the most Southern way possible. It ain't no fun when the rabbit got the gun. So it's all cool. It's all cool and shit when you looking down and it's all fun. But when you want to get into that cage with that lion, then this a whole different battle. Like it ain't as fun when you in this cage with us now. So all that being said,
I'm gonna translate it in terms of our Montana population. Hey, listen, everybody in this Saturday night gonna come sit in the stands and have a beer with you. You better leave them alone. Like I used to take risks going up in them stands. I knew y'all was, but I knew Billum was rocking with me, man. Because this dude is crazy. Like he's crazy. So but Ron Artest is a big dude. I just I don't think throwing a cup at Ron Artest just sounds like a fun way for me to.
That's not a smart.
Buy a ticket. But yeah, go ahead, Chris. I'm sorry.
But yeah, this was the first part. It's gonna be a 2-part thing. Yeah, I know we got a little jokes in and everything, but everything was from the heart. So like what the game meant. So it's the The next edition is going to be pretty much like what happens when the ball stops bouncing. So for those of you who hit my inbox up, like you got 3 different perspectives from it. You got it from all parts of the country. You got it from guys who've been on every level. So like take heed to it, tell your kids, tell your brothers and sisters, like there's no clear-cut way to this thing. Like it means different things to all 3 of us. And we've all had different various experience with this game. But at the end of the day, all of us love it. And at the end of the day, you had the 3 greatest podcast guys in the world giving you everything they got, being 100% with you. But the same question I'm gonna ask you tonight is the same question that I ask every time I get a chance. And what is that, Walt?
You know what? I'm gonna pass it over to the athletic director, Bays. What is that question that we need?
What's good, America?
What's good, America?
Hey, and What's Good America is an NIL sponsor for 4 Montana State Billings athletes.
That is not correct.
That shit's
not correct. That is not correct.
Cash, liquor, and everything. We're gonna get you in trouble.
Like, I will not be brokering any NIL deals. I can only help, read the fine print of the contract so that my student athletes don't get taken advantage of.
Well, Babe, it's been fun having you on the show. I guess Chris Turner really didn't want you. You thought it was me, didn't you? Are you kidding me, Turner?
I'm gonna get fired so quick. So
oh
quick.
My God. Well, what's good, America?
I
should have hit the stop button.
The thoughts and opinions of Chris Turner are of his own. They do not reflect Michael Bazemore, Montana State Billings, or the NCAA. So that is our disclaimer.